Welcome back, everyone, to Gaming on the Brain podcast, episode number 8. I'm one half of your host, and the other half is Glenn.
How are you doing? It's me again.
Hope you all enjoyed your nice summery week. It's been very hot here, as it is very hot right now in this room that we're recording in.
We are melting.
Yeah, absolutely sweating. I'm drinking a big pint of water with ice in it, and to be honest, the ice has melted in about 10 minutes, so that's not good. But never mind. Anyway, we're here today to talk about Violent Storm, which is an arcade release from Konami back in 1993 on the Mystic Warrior hardware.
Yeah, and in my own opinion, probably one of their better beat-em-ups. I mean, all their beat-em-ups have been great, but Violent Storm is one of my favourites, yeah.
But before we get into Violent Storm, we just want to have a bit of chat about the things going on right now, some news. One of the things I wanted to talk about, Glenn, probably some you're not aware of if you haven't been following it. Sony are releasing a new handheld device.
Ah, right, that is new to me.
Yeah, that sounds like a good thing, doesn't it?
I hope it is.
Yeah, well, it's not, unfortunately. Now, this is just my opinion. So the Sony PlayStation Portal, which is set to be released November 15th off the top of my head, it's actually a streaming device for your PlayStation 5.
Oh,
so
well.
Picture this, right? It's basically the DualSense controller with an 8-inch screen in the middle, 1080p, 60 frames a second, 60 hertz screen. So it's a nice screen and everything. This thing's going to be £200 at release, okay? But you're literally restricted to streaming games from your PlayStation 5.
Yeah.
So you can't stream over, anything else, no internet. It's literally a Wi-Fi device, okay? And all you can do is stream what's currently on your PlayStation 5, which, to be fair, you've been able to do since the PlayStation 5 released and on the PlayStation 4.
Yeah.
Through your mobile phone, tablet, PC. So I'm a bit perplexed at who
I'm a bit sceptical.
Yeah, I'm concerned here. I'm wondering what this is aimed at. Yeah,
I don't really fancy this at all. Like,
it's not like you can even take this device really, to a hotel and play it there. You'd have to take your PS5 as well.
PS5 nearby, yeah. I don't know what the distance would be.
I've been following it a little bit lately, and I'm just, I don't understand what they're thinking. I would love to see a new Vita or a new PSP, and I know Nintendo's got that market sewn up, but look lately at the Steam Deck and all these other IO Neo and the Razer one and everything. They're all, and right, Logitech's just about to release it. No, is it Logitech? Who do the laptops? LG Legion. Yeah, they're about to release a Legion one as well. So I mean, it wouldn't have been too difficult for Sony to take basically the same Zen 4 processor or whatever it is that you've got now and everything in an APU similar to what you've got on these new handhelds and make it a Sony property, with Sony's games on, which they're already releasing on PC anyway now.
Doesn't really appeal to me at all, this. I mean, I had a PSP and I skipped the Vita, but I loved my PSP back in the day.
Well, I've still got a PSP in my drawer and I had a Vita for a long time and it was brilliant. I mean, Uncharted and that was really impressive. Wipeout was really impressive. The Jack and Daxter ports, Metal Gear ports, they were all really good.
I didn't bother with the Vita because I remember not getting some of the series that I liked, that's all, and that's why I tended to lose interest.
Yeah.
Never had a new God of War, Twisted Metal, so I never really bothered.
Well, towards the back half of its life, it became like the indie machine, like all the good indie games have been released on it, so it found like a new home there, basically, But it was always a great little device, especially the first release with the OLED screen. It was very impressive. But yeah, I'm a bit concerned about Sony's direction lately. Not really sure what they're trying to do with this. On the other hand as well, they're talking about a PS5 Pro, which I think is an absolute waste of time considering we still haven't really hit where this hardware can go, if I'm honest.
Do you know what's sounding to me like a little bit like the old Sega of 1993 to 1999,
or PlayStation 3 when they just thought, we've got it sewn up before we even release it, so we're going to do whatever we want this generation, and you'll smile about it.
Yeah, I'm a bit surprised they'd make these mistakes that have been made years before.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I mean, hopefully it doesn't turn out that way, but
I hope not, mate.
I'd like to say all the big companies do well, personally.
I'd just like them to release a proper handheld. I mean, I'll be honest, I don't have a PS5 at the moment. I did have one for Gran Turismo 7. I wasn't impressed with Gran Turismo 7, and at the time you couldn't get your hands on a PS5, so I was quite happy to let mine go, because the only other game I wanted to play was the new God of War,
That's
it was ages away, before that was coming. And I still haven't bought a PS5 yet. I'll get one eventually, but right now I've got a PS4 Pro and a Series X, so that'll do. I play on my Steam Deck more than anything.
Yeah.
But the other thing I wanted to talk about, actually speaking of Steam Deck, while I was away on my lovely jollies last week, I bought myself Double Dragon Gaiden, or Gaiden, or however you want to call it.
You said it right first time, I think.
Gaiden, yeah. So this game, if you haven't played it yet, I've got to recommend it. It's basically... It takes everything you loved from the Double Dragon series, like 1, 2, 3, Super, and it tacks it on with a kind of roguelike game, or roguelite.
Yeah, it's been mentioned, yeah.
So essentially, every game's a new playthrough, so there's 4 missions, and you'll pick the order in which you want to do the missions.
You develop your characters all the way, aren't you?
Yeah, and you develop your characters, or you can choose not to develop your characters and take the money, and basically gamble, but not gamble the money, but gamble that you're not upgrading.
Yeah.
And then you buy tokens,
characters.
and your tokens allow you to buy characters and like basically artwork and stuff like that. And it's such an in-depth game. It's all about carrying out special moves.
Yeah.
You're waiting for your skill to get back up, or your stamina bar to hit top again, so you can fire off a special move. And the more enemies you can kill within one special move, the more like coins you get, and you get a health pickup in that as well.
Yeah.
So not only does it give you the money you need, but it helps to keep you alive as well.
Fighting system looks great. Like
it is. It's really like rewarding playing through it. I did my first playthrough. Because you can tamper with the settings at the start on how difficult you want it to be and things like that, and basically, the easier to make the game, the more it costs for a token.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So at first I left it just as standard, and it was like $1,000 for a token or something like that. And I got all the way to the last boss, which was absolutely supremely difficult. And I got to the point where I thought, well, I don't want to spend any more of my tokens I've earned on continues. So I quit out at that point and just took what I had. And then I started a new game the other day, and I actually turned it onto infinite continue mode. And this time I'm absolutely reaming in the tokens, and I know I'll be able to kill the last boss this time, because I'll just keep continuing for free until I finally get it done, But it's I've got to recommend it. I've only probably put about 6 hours into it myself at the moment. I'm actually looking for somebody who would like to play it in 2-player or online. So if you're interested, drop us a comment. I'll send you my Steam gamer tag, and we'll get a game on. But it's thoroughly entertaining. Totally recommend it. Anything from you, Glenn, before we jump in the episode?
Well, like I said, it was interesting talking about Double Dragon Gaiden. I looked at this a few weeks back, and the game looks great. And I've been a long time fan of that series as well. I can't wait to get into this one myself. So
we were both quite pessimistic, weren't we, about when we heard
just
about
the look.
it?
Yeah, I didn't like the look to start with. And the look is grown on us a bit, but it's more about the playability. The game looks like it plays fantastic. So
it does, honestly. It's really good.
I'm quite happy with that.
The combat system, it's not get deep.
It's got its own humour, which obviously leads into a bit into the game what we'll be talking about today, I suppose. Violent Storm.
Violent Storm, yeah.
So, like I say, with Violent Storm, though, classic beat 'em up. Not as well known as some of the others like Street Fighter 2 or Final Fight, but still a very solid, very fun game with a lot of humour. So want to definitely watch for, I hope.
Well, if you like your beat 'em ups, it's definitely worth listening to, and if you can, the only way to really get a hold of this, I think, is probably emulate or PCB. So grab a copy from somewhere and get MAME downloaded or RetroArch and have a go of it. It's good, 30 odd minutes, you'll finish it.
Yeah, it's a good half-an-hour game. It's okay.
Hopefully you won't regret it. But okay, we'll have a quick musical intro, and then we'll see you guys in a few minutes, okay? Or rather in about 40 seconds.
See you soon.
See you soon.
You've got gaming on the brain.
Welcome back. So, Glenn, Well, Violent Storm is the game for today. We know Konami, one of their, well, few releases on was it the Mystic Warrior hardware?
It was the Mystic Warrior hardware. And I have to say as well, what's very unusual about Violent Storm, I mean, we know that Konami released quite a lot of scrolling beat 'em ups at the time, and many of them, all of them excellent games, but many of them were based on licensed properties. I mean, you had like the amazing 5-player X-Men cabinet, and you had Bucky O'Hare, Turtles, obviously Turtles being the main one, Turtles 1 and 2 being the most well known, but also Konami had a few a little bit more, I don't even want to say obscure, because I remember here in the UK they popped up in quite a lot of arcades, but some of you might remember Crime Fighters and Vendetta. And but those aren't based on any existing like comic properties or movie or cartoon properties, you know. So, but they did only release a very small set of non-licensed beat 'em ups, didn't they?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, Violent Storm, like I say, so that was part of what the Konami considered to be the Mystic Warrior hardware.
Yeah.
And there was only probably 5 or 6 games, I believe, released on that hardware.
Monster Maulers and that.
So yeah, let's run them down. I think there was Monster Maulers, obviously Mystic Warrior. There was what was it?
Yeah, let's have a look. Yeah, we had Guy Atlas, which is a game I've never actually played before, but wouldn't mind checking it out.
Yeah, I don't even know what that one is.
Martial Champion was a basic Street Fighter rip-off, and it wasn't obviously as well received as Street Fighter. Come out in '93, so right in the glut of all this, but still looked like quite a decent game, but I've never played it. Also, Metamorphic Force was another one, which is another beat 'em up, which I'm not actually sure if this one's licensed, but looks like a fun one to give a whirl one time, maybe.
I've played through it, and it was okay. It was just decent, you know.
Tries to be hard to beat, but maybe on multiplanes.
Yeah, well, it's just a typical beat 'em up with and you metamorphosize into like animals and beasts and that, you know. But one thing you can say about the hardware, super colourful. Great audio effects.
Great audio, great music, yeah.
Full of sprite scaling, parallax, all the different kind of effects you'd expect
audio to have vocals and all now, which I thought the vocals are clear as hell in Violent Storm.
It is,
the pop songs now, which was unheard of back in '93. Literally had a CD-based unit, you know.
I know, it is. It's quite impressive. I remember the first time I ever heard the singing
in the barrel playing the arcade, yeah, that was Crow's Nest, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
Again,
Crow's Nest again.
Many memories in there.
Did it not replace the Final Fight sit-down cabinet?
I think it might actually have. Do you know what it is? I think when the first time we saw that, we didn't even know it was a Konami game, because it plays too much like a Capcom beat 'em up.
Yeah.
So it fit, and I mean, obviously, it does feel like an extension of Final Fight more than one of the Konami beat 'em ups, which do have their own sort of unique feel, just as Sega's beat 'em ups have theirs.
Yeah.
You know? And I felt like Konami's manages to not copy Capcom's style completely. You know, like if you've played Vendetta and Turtles and Violent Crime Fighters and that, you know, you'll know that they have a different, mainly in grapples and that, and the combinations you have, you know, generally in a Konami beat 'em up, you use more than one basic attack button, you'll have 2 or 3. And it'll be a bit more like what you do in Double Dragon in some ways, you know, like maybe a middle ground between a Capcom beat 'em up and a Technos beat 'em up, you know.
It's no, you're right. It is. It's feels very much like a typical Capcom Final Fight 2, basically, like an arcade version of what Final Fight 2 could have been.
Well, when we're talking about the game as well, though, isn't it? Don't you think it feels like the template is so close? I mean, the thing about Violent Storm is, well, we'll get into the humour in a second, but the actual template, when you play the game, it does feel so much like Final Fight that it's almost, I hate to say rip-off because it's such a great game in its own right. And what they've done is, to me, they've took Final Fight and then they've literally built on it in every way they possibly can. I mean, they've balanced it better because it's a little bit more fun than Final Fight, not just with the humour, but they've just, it's not hard in like the places that Final Fight was for the wrong reasons, you know. I mean, you've got a nice overall balance, so it could have easily been Final Fight 2, I think, if it'd been a Capcom fighting beat 'em up.
No, absolutely. It feels too similar to Final Fight. You can tell Konami's been looking and thinking, oh, well, we want to make our own Final Fight, basically. Yeah. I mean, we're talking, was it 3 years after, or 4 years after Final Fight?
Well, 4 years after Final Fight, but 2 years after Vendetta, which the interesting rumour going around the internet is that Violent Storm is actually the third part of a trilogy, the Crime Fighters trilogy, because obviously the game Crime Fighters, which came out in '89, it's a mixed bag. I mean, there's several different versions of Crime Fighters. We'll not spend too much time talking about these, but they are a little bit relevant to this story. Crime Fighters came out in a 2 and 4 player version, and they have some big differences between them. But then you've got Vendetta, which I always knew that game as Vendetta, but we found out a bit later on that the Japanese version is actually Crime Fighters 2. And those two games do feel close. Like Vendetta feels like a much more refined version of Crime Fighters, doesn't it? Because Crime Fighters are so rough around the edges. But Violent Storm is often considered Crime Fighters 3. And I mean, as far as like a beat 'em up that doesn't have any link or connection to a property, an existing property like comics, like we said, cartoons, you could maybe assume it is the third part of a trilogy. But I can't find any element of Violent Storm that really links those two games.
There's nothing really in the game from what I've seen from multiple playthroughs that suggests that it is, what a part of a trilogy or linked to Crime Fighters or Vendetta.
And it does feel different enough to be its own thing. I mean, to be fair as well, Crime Fighters 1 and 2, they are two separate stories with two different sets of characters.
Yeah.
There is one or two enemies that do overlap in the game, which one day we might get into, which will be an interesting story. But generally speaking, the two games are not really related, and it's obviously the same does apply for Violent Storm. But like I said previously, it plays so differently from any other Konami exclusive beat 'em up that. To me, it's its own thing. It's its own thing, and it's all the better for us.
Apologies if you can hear some fan audio on the track there. My laptop's actually kicking the fanning, so it's that hot today, especially in this room. I think
that's why we chose a game that we might be wrap a little bit sooner than some of them, because we're trying a different formula today, aren't we?
Yeah. One that involves getting done a bit quicker so we don't melt and die
we're sitting here topless if that does it for you, but just
It's probably good that we're not doing video at the moment.
Yeah, probably best.
But so Violent Storm, I mean, for anyone who hasn't played it, probably quite a lot of people, I imagine, don't even know about this game.
It's not very obscure. I mean, we've definitely seen it at least one arcade. I think I might have seen it in South Shields as well.
Yeah.
So I might have seen 2 cabs.
I think I've only ever seen it once myself.
I wouldn't consider it up there with Final Fight as in like pretty much every arcade back in the day would have had a copy. You've got to remember one other thing, by 1993, scrolling beat 'em ups were they had to be really spectacular to ever have a chance. And I mean, I'm not saying Violent Storm wasn't, but you really had to have a massive gimmick, I mean, obviously some of Capcom's stuff like Alien vs Predator had that license by 1993, 94. So I think Violent Storm would have probably done way better if it did have a license linked to it of some sort. Obviously, again, like if I mentioned the X-Men cabinet, which came out, would that be 94? I think
it was,
maybe 93 even. But I mean, it had a massive gimmick in that the cabinet itself was like a 5-player cabinet.
Was it not 6?
It might have been 6 actually.
I think it
was a 6-player cabinet. You know what it is? I think you could get it in several variations anyway, so you could probably have 3, 4 and 5 anyway.
I remember it was a right beast. It was huge, wasn't it?
Yeah. There's a replica in it. We've got a replica of that now as well. You can get that.
Yeah.
So that's out there. But that, again, you've got the license as well, though, man. So you're playing a game it's got the same engine and style, pretty much, of like the Turtles games, the 2 Turtles arcade games. And then you've also got like the license of a great Marvel license as well. So something Violent Storm didn't have. But the thing is, it has got a great cast of characters in its 3 playable characters and its cast of enemies and bosses as well. So it doesn't fall down on those fronts.
Nah. No, it's I mean, the game itself, like it says, as per the hardware, it's a very colourful, great-looking game, massive sprites. Probably potentially a little bit bigger than the likes of Final Fight sprites and that. But like I say, we are talking a few years later. Audio is absolutely out of this world in terms of like the songs and everything. It's when you play the game, it plays like Final Fight, doesn't it?
Yeah. If you played Final Fight, you'd easily pick up this game. But the great thing about Violent Storm is it is slightly more complex. I mean, only slightly in it. I mean,
there's probably 1 or 2 additional moves.
I mean, we'll always mention probably one of our granddaddies of beat 'em ups, and that's going to be Street Rage 2 on the Mega Drive. And it's not even now. Street Rage 2 came out in '92, if you remember as well, so a bit earlier. And it's not even as complex as that game. I mean, Street Rage 2 was leaps and bounds over the first game, and leaps and bounds over Final Fight. In fact, in the repertoire of moves that the characters have, and obviously how different the characters play to each other as well. I mean, probably one of the first characters in the beat 'em up that had an automatic sort of dash attack in Max, other than like Golden Axe's running attacks, because normally characters just didn't have that. It was very rare to have a dash move by 1992. And funny enough, Violent Storm it, in its basis level, doesn't either, apart from like the odd couple of moves here and there that do work in the same way as Max's dash. But it doesn't have as many different styles of moves. I mean, you can do pretty well in Violent Storm just by button mashing, which, to be fair, we've just done today and we're quite enjoyed, because it keeps its combat pretty simple. But there is a lot of more of directional based attacks as well. So holding a direction with the joystick like up or down and press and jump of attack can give you a different move, maybe like a quick elbow strike or just like a headbutt or something, just something just out of the blue. But to be quite honest, after playing it again, you don't really need them. You're quite happy just bashing your way through it, aren't you?
It is. It's very much. I mean, I've played it. I think this is the third time just now when we've played it in 2-player and recorded the video. It's probably the third time I've played through it this week, and it's good to come back to every now and again. But as with most beat 'em ups, it suffers from the same issue, and that's it just turns into mashing the buttons mindlessly.
Yeah, because it's got a fairly limited combat system as well. After about halfway through the game, you are going to start to feel like a little bit of repetition, which, I mean, is affected just about all of them. Every beat 'em up going. I mean, there's only some of the later stuff like the Dungeons and Dragons games where they had such complex combat systems that you ended up with something where and obviously the games themselves like had very different scenes and different sort of play styles. Where obviously Violent Storm does stick to like a simple side scroll, and there isn't even any bonus stages, so that was one little step back from Final Fight there, and that you don't even have that to break it up. But like I say, as a simple and fun beat 'em up though, I mean it's always been a great one, like, for me.
It is, yeah, it's a good game. I mean the characters as well. So you've got 3 playable characters. You've got, is it Wade, Boris, and Kyle? Yeah. And they
follow the trope, don't they?
They follow the exact tropes, yeah. So you've got Wade, who's like your middle ground character, who's fairly quick, fairly powerful.
Boris is your Hagar, basically.
Yeah, Boris is your big
Kyle's
powerful
your
guy. Yeah, and Kyle's like faster but not as powerful, that kind of thing. So it's the usual expectation. You see what you expect to see with a typical beat 'em up. But it's it's a good game. It's a better than average beat 'em up.
Yeah. And I was surprised when I first played it, because it does, like I've just previously mentioned, it does stick so closely to the tropes that it's surprising. I mean, there's an enemy in there called Hogan, and this guy, he's literally Hollywood from Final Fight, and that the guy runs on screen, chucks a bomb at you, and then runs off, and if you hit him once, he dies. So it's like, wow, I mean, is this not actually Final Fight 2? I mean, you've actually got that. You've got the enemy who does that, which I thought was... What another little nod back to Final Fight, like.
There's another one, no, isn't it? Is it Drigger, I think, who's got the chains in it? No, sorry, the guy who's got the chains in it. He just reminds us of like Axel and Slash, yeah.
Crossbones and that, yeah. Well, you've got Spike. I mean, Spike is sort of this game's Andrea, isn't it?
Yeah.
You've got 7 of them. They're like big and you should take a little bit more health. So the strongest of them are almost like a middle boss, because Violent Storm doesn't have true middle bosses. I mean, there is 1 or 2 characters later on we know like who do sort of take that role, but generally speaking though, there's no true like middle boss battles, but I'd say the cast of enemies is just funny. I mean, and again they've got a little bit of humour about them as well. I mean, they all have their own basic move sets, and they get more powerful. You've got one of my favourite characters is an enemy called Lollipop, who's like a big fat guy who doesn't run at you like Bill Bull. Or Big Ben, but he does belly flop here, which I think is way funnier, really, especially when you look at the guy and he's got, I don't know, it looks like he stepped like out of a Hawaiian circus or something. And again, just like a lot of character for these unusual, strange looking enemies.
He's absolutely huge, though, isn't he? He's just a big gelatinous mess. Basically, he's quite funny to look at. He's a humorous character.
Yeah.
Is humorful a word?
Can be now.
But the levels, we're not going to go and break down every individual level like we have been in the past. It's the levels. There's a couple of highlights. The first level, you basically start off in the city streets, fighting the typical.
It's what you pretty much what you see in Final Fight Street to it. Nothing too unusual. The level itself pretty simple. The boss's level's a character called Debel or Dable, depending on how you pronounce that.
Yeah, and he's good, isn't he? He's quite cool. He does in a bobo. He does in a bobo, smashes through the brick wall, and then he's basically got like a big, like a club with spikes on it.
And he thinks he's basically Jason Voorhees from the second Friday the 13th movie.
Wearing a paper bag over his head.
Yeah. And in and of himself, he's not that unusual because we've seen this type of character many times before, but it's a fun battle, you know, and when you do kill him, if you kill him in certain ways, he actually drops his mask. He's a really ugly guy underneath. You pick up the mask and you get like a big point bonus, which again reminds us of little elements of Final Fight, like Eddie A on level 3 when you can pick up his chewing gum and that.
Yeah.
So, you know, you can see I wonder if there was probably at least one of the developers was from Capcom at that time. Level 2 is probably
the best level. I think
the runaway train.
Yeah, runaway train.
And it looks great because it's made. It's like the style of it is like a old sort of Wild West train. You know, it's not like in the Final Fight train. You know, like a subway train, and it's comical because you've got like pigs
hobos,
and that. Yeah, hobos which you can knock off the back of the trains and that. It's just little graphical gags like light bulbs that if you jump up and kick them and stuff, they'll blind the goons for a few seconds and that. A little bit like the pepper shakers from Street of Rage, you know, where they would stun an enemy for a little while. The pigs and that, when you hit the pigs and some of them are running around and they'll leave behind pigskin footballs for you to pick up and chuck in
bounce about.
Some very creative weapons which we'll get to in a sec. The boss of this level is Joe, and Joe is a ticket collector, which is unusual.
So I see your ticket.
Comes out with a massive like cattle prod ticket.
Well, you know, he starts off with a little ticket stamper, ticket punch,
and he pulls out.
Then he pulls out a big electrical tongue thing. That looks like a very big.
Doesn't he look human? I mean, is he even like a troll or something? I don't know, but he's a crazy guy.
Half the enemies don't look human, if I'm honest.
Another good battle. The level 3 is actually one of my best. I mean, it's in a. You're in like a tavern area, you know, it's outdoors as well for a lot of it. So you you're running along a street, looks like there's a party going on, and that ends up in a bar. So it almost mirrors a little bit of Final Fight level 3, you know. And funny enough, the boss of this level as well it takes place in a cage, you know, where Final Fight's midpoint battle did. You know, and here you fight a big wrestler called Trigger, and he's probably one of my favourite bosses actually. Just looks cool as hell.
He's not too difficult either. He's not
frustrating. He looks like a typical 80s wrestler.
He looks like a goofy version of like the Aberdeen, doesn't he?
So again, there's a humour in it, you know. I mean, what a great. But I said possibly my favourite boss actually, just because he looks so outlandish. Level 4. Level 4 is the furnace, and furnace is there.
It's the most boring. It's the typical industrial level from like Streets of Rage and things like that.
What we'll go back there, we'll look at the industrial levels in Street of Rage games, we'll look at Final Fight's level 4, you know. Again, level 4 to level 4, it does seem like they're trying to mirror Final Fight. There's in place of like the fire in the floor that you get in Final Fight, this time you've got like melting rivers of lava, you know, which run between the grates. So you've just got to be careful of things like that. A few traps now. The boss on this level is Dalton, isn't it? Dalton,
is that right?
Dalton, have we got that right? Yeah. Let's have a look now.
We're just going to check. We've got our notes in front of us.
Doyle, sorry.
Doyle.
Doyle. And to me, this guy, he's one of the most annoying. He comes across more as like Jet from Street Race 2 on steroids, or the Jet from Street Race 3.
He's basically wearing the aliens, the power suit from Aliens, but he can fly as well, and he does loads of damage. He's all over the place. You can't get a hold of him. He's just a nightmare. He's one of the frustrating bosses, unfortunately.
One other thing we like about the bosses in this game, or nearly all of them, not every one, but nearly all of them, when they die, they have like a little gimmicky end. I mean, DeBell is probably about the only one that didn't, but even then he leaves behind his mask. Obviously, Joe from the second level ends up flying off the back of the train. Doyle, Drigger didn't either, really. Drigger just
dies, yeah.
Doyle actually is probably the most outlandish, really, of them all, or at least in the top three.
Screaming that his machine's frozen and he explodes and whatnot.
And ends up in the lava in the background, and that creates explosion. So, you know, you get these little sort of, this is before real cutscenes, you know, so it's still cool that they do this. Level 5, Level 5, I love the music, and level 5, the botanic garden.
Yeah, this level's not bad.
It's a different pace of scenery as well. But I mean, by now you're pretty much facing the same kind of enemies you've been facing all the time. But it's a nice pace, a change of pace with the level. Boss of this level is Julius Justice.
Yeah, is it basically you come across a statue of Julius? It's like Julius Caesar, basically.
Yeah, he thinks he is anyway, but he's a pretender.
And then
he's flexing his muscles, isn't he?
He comes to life, and then he starts flexing his muscles at you and beating you up. It's again, in with the comedy of the game, it's a funny boss fight, and he's not difficult to take down.
He's quite easy. This guy, when he dies, he turns back into a statue, and then he explodes, doesn't he?
Yeah, so
he's got his little gimmick and all that. But it's a good fight. Though. But the next one, I would say, the next guy is probably the most cheapest of them all.
Oh God, yeah.
And that is we end up in a beer area. And the beer area again, I mean, that reminds us of a beer area from Vendetta actually, because that's got a penultimate level that's like that as well.
Well, it's almost like the Streets of Rage 3 level 1, isn't it, where you're going along and you've got the
piers
boats coming up.
That's it. Where you fight Ash. Can't wait to talk about Ash one day. Like definitely.
Yeah.
I think we should make a whole podcast about Ash, but we'll keep that for now.
It'll be a short one.
I don't know. I'll try and make it as long as I can. I've done playthroughs of him, remember.
Right.
But anyway, boss of this level is Sledge, and he's an unusual looking one because it looks like he's I don't know what the lore of Van Som is, because we haven't looked too deep into. We know the story of the game now, but we haven't looked too deep into the any of the lore behind the individual characters, if there is even any. But this guy looks like he's trying to be a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle.
He does, yeah.
He's clearly a man.
He's got like pans or shields or something,
he
hasn't he?
Shells and shields and that, and then he's got like a bandana over his face and that,
Yeah.
So he's not. He's queer looking, but he deflects a lot of your shots and that, and he's bouncing all over the place and teleporting. So
do you know what I've just thought before we go on to the final level? Yeah, story. Glenn's mouthing the word story as I'm like, yeah.
But I'll tell you what,
it's such a small.
I reckon now, since we're nearly there, which we'll finish the description of the levels now and tell the story. The story's so. But I don't want to say bland because it sounds like we're insulting the game, but it's exactly what you expect it to be. But we'll get to it in a second. I think we'll probably have done this right by just telling you the level first, because we're doing it when you're switching off.
To be fair, if I tell you the story, it won't make any sense of the enemies and the bosses.
In fact,
anyway.
I tell you what, right? Just go back and read the manual for Double Dragon or Final Fight or Street. Double Dragon or Final Fight.
Basically, this big
literally is
nuclear war.
Which is Double Dragon.
It's the aftermath, and it's like gangs leading the streets and stuff like that. There you go. Same old story.
And then the kidnap Sheena though.
Oh yeah,
and there's a song about that, which I'm not about to sing because I don't know all the lyrics, but there is a song. But that's it. And then the Geld gang, which is what they are, they kidnap this bird and they take her away, and then you have to go and get her back. That's exactly what you think.
She just finished our daily shop as well, and she was on her way back across the street, and she got kidnapped by.
Wasn't Jessica in Final Fight though?
Probably, yeah.
What's saying Marion wasn't? She didn't have any handbags about.
That's true.
I don't think she didn't have note with her, but I mean, I think she probably was doing the same thing.
There's a lesson to be learned here for women. Don't go shopping.
Definitely not in the 80s or early 90s.
And definitely not after there's been nuclear conflict.
Definitely not. But the last level, in the last level, you're fighting against, we'll not spoil too much for it, but Lord Geld's museum, basically. And Lord Geld is the big cheese of the story. This is actually a really cool looking level because it does have a great use of colour, tons of different destructibles. I mean, obviously Violent Storm does use that little trope as well, like the previously mentioned games where you've got tons of receptacles to destroy, like bins and pot plants and people, and pigs.
Oh yeah,
and like pretty much honestly stuff you wouldn't expect as well. This level is chock full of it, but nothing you haven't really seen before as far as enemies go. But you do fight a character called Red Freddy here, which is Geld's right hand man. The irony being that Red Freddy is actually green, so I never really worked that one out.
He's got red hair. Well, she's got yellow hair with red highlights.
Well, I'd probably still call him Yellow Freddy or Green Freddy. But anyway,
I'd call him Red Skinny Blanca.
Just Google this guy and have a look and just see what you think. But that's what we see anyway.
Yeah, Red Freddy. He's a rip off of Blanca.
And he's all out of the shop,
but a lot skinnier.
Yeah, he never stops. Like he's just crazy, like this guy. But again, you'll knock him. Can't remember how many speed. He just dies as well, doesn't he? Doesn't really do that.
Yeah, there was nothing impressive. I mean, to be honest, he's just a cheap, frustrating boss again.
But what happens as soon as you kill him, though? The screen scrolls a little bit over, and then the next thing you realise, you're seeing what looks like a purple child in a purple 10-year-old sitting on a throne. So we're thinking, okay, one punch and he's out, probably a bit like Mr. K out of Crackdown, but he transmutes or transforms. I don't know. I try to be cool, but I don't know if I sounded right. He changes anyway into.
He transgenders into a big giant.
He quite possibly that is possibly what he is.
Well, I think it's a girl anyway. When you I think she starts as a girl and then becomes a giant.
Sounds like a girl, doesn't he?
Yeah,
then we'll never know. We don't know what we don't know what they identify as, do we?
remember it's post-nuclear war, so it could have been like something to do with like the radiation and that.
It could be like a hermaphrodite.
Quite possibly, yeah.
But anyway, he gets really big and angry, and he spits acid at you that sits on the floor for about 30 seconds.
You get back up and it hits you again, you fall back out.
It's quite cheap. He's as cheap as you'd expect for the last boss in a scrolling beat 'em up in the arcades. But when you kill him,
it's a shit boss in my opinion.
He's not like Bowser or anything.
No.
Like Mr. X, who's not even that hard, but just cool.
I think that whole like the last two bosses there, I honestly think they could have done a lot better.
In fact, dare I say, he's not even good as Stouff. Faust.
Who's that again?
That's a Vendetta boss.
Oh, of course, man. Yeah, Faust. He's a good buddy.
You fight him a bit because you beat him up a bit, and then he pulls a machine out, and he does a Mr. X basically. I thought he was just a cool looking character.
Well, that's the thing you used to see in these like phases of like last bosses.
And he doesn't have that, does he?
Death Adder in Return of Death Adder. Faust. Where he's just like same fight till he's dead.
Yeah,
and it's
just wheeling on
him. Yeah, there's no. He is my first third of my health bar. You can kick the crap out of us. Second third, I'm going to get a little bit tougher. Third time, I'm going to get really tough and frustrating. It's just frustrating all the way through, 100%.
I'm actually surprised in Konami with that aspect because I said like they've normally had such great bosses in any of the games. I mean, I'm not just talking about their big ups obviously as well, but like their shoot 'em ups like the Parodius series and stuff like that, and Gradius and that.
Well, funny you mentioned Parodius, Glenn, because this is basically a parody of Final Fight. So it's something that Konami's been pretty good at doing, aren't they?
Yeah, that's what we'll probably get to in a sec with the humour, like. But anyway, when you beat Geld, he for some reason decides to scream for his mother and jumps out of the back wall and dies.
Yeah.
Which is fair enough, so it's not as dramatic as Belgium getting kicked out of the window in Final Fight, but it'll do.
But in fairness, he dies stupidly because he goes and stands next to a really short broken wall and then
tips over.
Maybe a minor gust of wind or something blows him over, and then he screams and dies.
If he just lay down on the floor, he'd probably survived. He'd be there for Violent Storm 2. Would
Exactly.
have been playing it now, but would never will, unfortunately. So.
But I mean, look, the highlights for me levels probably level 2. Definitely the best level.
I like level 3 because I love the tune and I love the final boss. I like the music in level 3 and all. It's cool to listen to as you back through. So
I feel like I said, I know we've repeated ourselves here, but there was a couple of really all the tunes all the way through are pretty good. In fairness, some are like exceptional for like the time, for what you're getting.
Definitely for 1993.
Yeah.
I mean, the soundtrack is is perfectly listenable. I mean, you could literally download the soundtrack or. There will be a CD out there. There will be a very expensive Konami CD soundtrack.
It matches the look of the game, doesn't it? If you could imagine the sound having some kind of visual quality, it would be colourful and bouncy. that's what you could expect.
Without doubt.
Did you want to get into something about the comedy side?
Well, I wanted to mention the comedy side of it because we do definitely have to touch on this. We have touched on it throughout the podcast, but. The thing is, and this will tie in, I suppose it will tie in a few of the Konami games. I'll avoid the shoot 'em ups because we'll be here all day. But I definitely want to mention, like, obviously, generally, like, again, going back to Crime Fighters, Vendetta, Turtles, Bucky O'Hare, amongst many others, because there is a lot. They all do have this great humour, usually interactive backgrounds and just little sight gags, and that some of the stuff isn't even interactive at all, but just looks funny, I mean... Well, Vendetta and Crime Fighters went even a step further by having like stereotypical gay characters in there, which were very. I mean, hopefully don't offend anybody here, but we found them funny. And I mean, obviously back in the 90s, that was the intention. And bear in mind, this was Japan, But I know for the Western markets, those characters were removed.
Crime Fighters too. That was serious level 3, wasn't it?
Dogs and that they were like
dogs were licking you and humping your leg and that.
It was great. That did in both games.
The stereotypical gay dude in like leather humping your leg and that.
It's the Street 3 Ash thing, isn't it? All but there's nothing like that. That doesn't go that. It doesn't try and be that risky in Violent Storm. I mean, it doesn't need to, But you do get plenty of daft little stuff, like I said, hobos getting knocked out the back of the train and that, just the general depths of the enemies. Like characters like Hogan, like I says, the guy who runs on the screen and chucks bombs. If his bombs blow him up instead, then he's like doing a cartoon sort of impression of a man who got blown up by a bomb, and he's all like,
Yeah.
he's get burnt to cinders and that, you know, his hair's stood on end, and then he disappears. And
Yeah,
that,
the industrial
There's
level.
no blood.
The industrial level has the typical presses that come down and squash you, and when they do, you're flat on the floor.
Yeah, you flatten the floor.
And you can just see like your eyes sticking
It's
out.
not a
and stuff.
gory game, either, you know. I mean, kids can play this.
It's got that typical cartoon humour, isn't it? Hasn't it? It's and it works for the game, you know. It does. It's a good game, you know, and the review will reflect that. But is there any?
We haven't touched on the weapons really, have we?
There's not loads, though, is there? You've got your pigskin footballs.
Yeah, I mean, there's more than fan
lead
fight.
pipes.
Yeah, fan fight when you have 3 weapons. I mean,
Knives.
Knives, yeah, and the as I say, you said the pipes. And
you
that.
can pick up plant pots and chuck them at other people.
Yeah, barrels. So there's a little bit element of double dragon in there, because obviously fan fight didn't let you, or Street to Rage even didn't let you do that. So it was nice to see they could pick up big, heavy objects and throw them double dragon style as well. So there's a decent variety in the weapons for the time. I mean, nothing majorly stand out, but definitely like very competent for the year. You know, like I said, by 1993. 1993 was the absolute middle of all the fighting games, you know. I mean, people were just not even playing beat 'em ups by then. I mean, obviously you had to be either Konami, Sega, or Capcom to even have any chance, and they were still never going to do as well as the best fighting games of the day, you know.
Nah, definitely not. There was
1993 saw Super Street Fighter Turbo, you know, Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo, and opening Neo Geo games.
I think Crow's Nest alone had about 4 different Street Fighters 2s in at the time, and that's where everybody seemed to be spending the time.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd be sat Final Fight or Violent Storm or Splatterhouse or one
well,
of them.
they still had the Golden Axe cab as well, I think, at the time.
Yeah, they did, aye.
Still there.
Still next to where Violent Storm was, actually.
That's it, aye. No, they were still very good at the time. Like,
Who's your favourite boss?
Drigger, without a doubt. I just thought he
Yeah.
was a cool looking character. I mean, irony being, he hasn't even got a great death scene, but I thought just he's cool and funny, and comical. So it's like I quite like that character. Like,
See, I like the boss. I like the Bell, if I'm honest. He's easy to kill.
so you can
But yeah, I
bullying
just
him to
beat the
death,
crap out of him. Aye, it's funny as out. And I think when his mask falls off and that, and he looks like hideous underneath. It's great.
Well, has he got horns?
He has, but did you not notice as well later on? I think it's like level 5 or something. You fight mini DeBells. They're basically Bull. Aye, they're basically the same.
That's what I meant to say. I mean, there was like a sort of mini boss character, but he's not even really that. I mean, it's not like he has like a full bar of health. And
he's just a normal enemy.
He takes a couple of punches and he's on the floor. But yeah, and he never has a mask. Bull never has a mask, guy. But I mean, that's the closest you get to like where they would have a palette swap, like Street to Rage style, where they'd introduce a boss character on a later level as a mid boss, you know, who has a bit less health maybe. You know, but I saw Bull was that, but you couldn't even really call him a midweight boss. I said that the Spike characters take a bit more of that sort of position, because most of them do put a bit more of a fight. You tend to fight 2 or 3 at once now, don't you?
Yeah, you do.
Even then, there's no strictly strict boss character, middle boss character in the game. Like, I mean, but there is some cool enemies though. I mean, I like Crossbones, as you mentioned previously, because he's him and he's Pipe and Geiger Death as well. Obviously, Geiger Death's a little bit of a Mickey take from Megadeth, you know.
Yeah.
He comes on doing headbanging and that, and he's got his chains and that as well.
There's a couple of trivia things in here as well, which were, I can't remember, stole information from Wikipedia or something like that. But yeah, there's a couple of like bonus pickups. So I think one of the levels there's a Twin Bee doll that you can pick up for bonus points.
Yeah.
Another one of Konami's properties.
They'll give you extra. There's actually a couple of bonus enemies if you even bothered, really, because it's just such a small thing. But in 2-player mode, you can fight a different version of Lollipop called Y Lollipop, who was a yellow version. I mean, not that he's anything special, just the fact that he just pops up only in 2-player. And we also noticed a guy called R Spike. So there's Red Spike, who looks meaner as well and tends to take a bit more damage to take down. So again, a couple of characters you only fight in 2-player. Only palette swaps. I mean, don't have any extra moves or any extra features added to them, but just for spotting little things, you know, little extras. A bit like in Final Fight, whereby you'd fight the extra Andrea. You know, you'd fight Uncle Andrea, who was the black one, the one with the black leotard, if I remember right, where you normally wouldn't. You'd only fight the grandpa in blue and father in yellow.
Grandpa. But there's typically some arcade machines to smash in it as well, which is, you know, I think that's
Great
well,
little
definitely
Penta,
Streets of Rage
Penta
2.
was definitely there.
Pentaroo or something, isn't it? Or it's called.
Penta Penguin. Aye.
Aye, that's it, yeah. So that was, and there was another game which we smashed through quickly before we realised what it was. But, it's a good game, but I think I'm ready to do a review, mate, if you are.
Yeah, well, I definitely.
I've
I've got a solid review coming up.
I mean, I enjoyed this game a lot more back in the day than I do now, probably because I've overplayed it this week, in fairness.
To be fair as well, I mean, we always did plan this week's podcast to be a fairly short one. Obviously, even more so with the heat at the minute, but we were just going to focus on the single game. Now, before Mark goes into review, I would like to mention, regarding Violent Storm, we can't find, and this is good and bad, I mean, we can't find any sort of... there's definitely no conversions, which we've known that for years.
Yeah.
I mean, it didn't come out in any console or any other hardware even, but and there's no sequels. And as far as I know, there isn't even any other link from any other Konami games that actually have any connection to Violent Storm, like later games. I mean, there may be, but I've never seen any. But also, the one thing which is a little bit sad, if you want to say, because it won't be forever, but is that it doesn't seem to have like an official download available anywhere at the minute as well. So obviously there's a lot of emphasis on the 1-up cabinets, as many people know now, and the Turtles games have been released, and for Sega's had the Golden Axe games amongst others released.
Yeah.
And we've never, I mean, me and Mark would love to see like maybe a Konami beat 'em up trilogy. Now it might be a bit difficult to get some of those games. I mean, I'm pretty sure that the 6-player X-Men cabinet does exist. I'm pretty sure I've seen that, like as a 1-up or as one of those companies. So there is some licensing going on there between Konami and the companies. So somebody somewhere feels it justifies releasing these.
Turtles and that. So
that's it. Well, that's what I was saying. There's a Turtles cabinet, you know. So that this, bear in mind, you've got to get multiple rights holders here to agree to this to these cabinets. So Konami and possibly Mirage Comics or whoever's in charge of Turtles right now would have been who would have given the go ahead for that.
Is it not Nickelodeon or something that still
quite,
holds
quite
the rights?
Quite possibly. But I said, but regarding Violent Storm, I'm just very surprised that there doesn't seem to have been any official release. Not even an official release from Hamster Corp, which tend to release even more obscure games than this. You know,
yeah.
But unless again there is some sort of a some red tape as far as releasing it goes. But anyway, on the review.
Yeah, I did a quick Google and nothing showed up to buy Violent Storm.
Yeah.
So as far as I'm aware, the only way to play this is emulated or on a PCB. Yeah.
So if you're a collector, obviously these PCBs again are not cheap now, but you will find Violent Storm PCBs on eBay. They're not super rare. They're just going up and up in price. That's all. But for those who like to use an original cabinet or even the old Supergun systems that some of us have owned, then it's a great PCB to own. But like I said, generally speaking, most people are just going to maim it. So
for me, Glenn, review-wise, it's a shorter game than Final Fight, so it clocks in about 32 minutes.
But the length of it is perfect.
It is.
It's more perfect than Final Fight, but Final Fight feels a bit long.
Yeah, I'll be honest, it was probably 5-10 minutes too long for me. I'm more of a Double Dragon Golden Axe kind of guy.
Just
like
a quick,
length,
yeah,
like 15 minute blast on an arcade machine. But still, I mean, it suffers from the typical beat 'em up thing where there's nothing keeping you engaged. You just end up getting to a point where you're tapping buttons. You cannot really knock points off for that because it's what you expect this day and age. In terms of presentation wise, it's a beautiful looking game, really good audio. All the sound effects and that are fantastic. The voice samples really good and everything.
In the context of an arcade game, it just does, again, like we've mentioned several times before, but does everything it should do. And it hits the spots for that, you know, like it's not too, the fighting system isn't too complex. It doesn't need to be, you know, it keeps it simple. So I mean, as I said, it is a maximum 3-player game and all. So if you've got 3 years around this cabinet, you know, that can be great fun, you know, but it's just as fun with 1 or 2 players.
Well, look, I'm gonna go in with a 7.5 on this one.
Yeah.
And I think that's fair. You know, because there was beat 'em ups to me that would score much higher, but this is a good beat 'em up. I'd recommend playing it. What do you reckon, Glenn?
Well, like I say, it's still actually one of my favourite arcade scrolling beat 'em ups. I mean, it's not my actual favourite, but it's still in my top 5, just because it just ticks all the boxes, all the right boxes. It doesn't go over the top. I mean, there's other arcade games that will touch on the future that just blows away even now and blows away then, which are actually older than Violent Storm. But so it doesn't blow us away as much as them, but between the great music and the visuals and that, and just the pretty sharp playability and that, I'm quite happy to give Violent Storm an 8.5. As I say, I mean, I remember first seeing it and just loving it, and I still do. As I said, the thing is, I know that I still like the game because it's not painful to play now for me. It's still not painful to play, but as Mark says, though, it does, like any longer beat 'em up, like any beat 'em up that generally lasts longer than half an hour, you do tend to start to, you're like, right, you're waiting for the end. I mean, even the best beat 'em ups. I mean, dare I say, even this time to Street Rage 2, I'm like, right, I'm done now. I want to finish. Undercover Cops, which is another great game I like, but you're like, right, and that's got like lots of varying variety, it's enemies and it's level styles and stuff and weapons. But even then, you're like, right, after about half an hour, you're ready to just switch off. So again, so for me, I mean, I think 8.5 is more than solid, and as I say, it's a game that it has great memories for me.
I was going to ask you what you would recommend, Glenn, but you've probably just mentioned a couple there. That
yeah, well, I'll always recommend one scrolling beat 'em up, and that is always going to be Golden Axe Revenge Death Adder, because it's just like,
yeah,
again, the best for me.
we'll have to do that one soon. Yeah. We've got just to clue everyone in, we've got one more episode that's going to be in this format. Then we've got a special episode set up for episode 10, and then we're doing a few changes here and there, with artwork and other stuff, and potentially additional video of me and Glenn in on YouTube and stuff like that. I'm still working out the kinks. We're only 8 episodes in. We're a young podcast. We're still trying to find our feet.
We want to make sure that we can hold your interest as well. I mean, so if it means making the actual content a little bit shorter, but maybe more direct and more linked to what we want to talk about, as opposed to going off the tangent, because I know I'm likely to do that, but sometimes occasionally we'll mention other games as well, or similar games, and next thing you know, we're talking about those games as well. But I'll try and always keep it on fact where possible.
I think the balance is trying to hold it as more of an opinion piece as well as a bit factual, and not be overly factual with no opinion. It's like, because it just gets boring and I think people switch off. But look, feel free to drop us a comment and tell us what we're doing wrong.
Yeah, you might prefer one way or the other,
Yeah, because we'd love feedback, and to be honest, we'd love to boost the ratings and listeners and whatnot. So the only way we're ever going to know is by you guys getting in touch and letting us know.
And give us an idea about what game you'd like for us to do next, just in case, because we'd love to have a bit of feedback on that as well.
I'd like to get to the point where I've got enough people where I can put polls on every week on like Spotify or wherever, so that people can actually choose. But no, we'll hope to get to that at some point. But we will bugger off now, mate, and we'll record the intro next
one. I think so. Yeah.
So thank you very much, everyone, for listening. And like I said, please subscribe. Please drop us a like, drop us a comment. Enjoy your weekend or whenever you're listening to this, and we'll see you next time. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Take care. Bye bye.
Bye now.